Hi there. Grab a cuppa, take a seat, come and meet your health coach. The podcast from vitalhealthcoaches.com.
Hello, Claire, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, we have Clare Sharpen with us today, who is a health coach with specialism in brain health. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this point in your life?
Yeah, great. I live in Southeast London in the UK. I'm married with 3 children, so 2 teenagers and one primary age. And yeah, I've been on quite a journey, which I'll talk about to get to this point. I've recently qualified as a health coach, and my specialism is brain health. So I'm a bit of a brain geek. I love researching and understanding more about brain health. So yeah, that's me.
And tell us a bit more about what you used to do before you became a health coach, specifically a brain injury health coach.
I ran my own consultancy business for about 13 years, doing management consultancy and training for social enterprises and charities. So, yeah, that's my kind of background, working in various, well, lots of different roles, really, which I really enjoyed doing. So, yeah, it was good.
And so I know because we are friends and we've known each other for 20 years plus, I know that life took quite a dramatic turn for you. Can you tell us a bit more about this and a bit more about the journey you've been on?
Yeah, sure. So in 2023, I sustained what's referred to as a mild traumatic brain injury, which is a kind of annoying term because mild and traumatic don't really go together. But I was in a restaurant with a colleague. I fainted and fell headfirst down a set of steps. Um, at first, I seemed okay, battered and bruised, but I was okay. He helped me get home. And then over the days and weeks that followed, symptoms got worse and worse. And I had what's referred to as post-concussion syndrome or post-concussion symptoms. So a whole host of symptoms that people who have this are in this situation will be familiar with. So it was really debilitating for 6 weeks. I really could barely get out of bed. And then recovery was slow, a lot slower than I would have liked after that. So yeah, that was from where we are now, over 18 months ago. Um, Recovery has been slow. They always say it's not linear, but I'm certainly a lot better. So it's been quite a journey, really, of learning to get to this point.
So go back to when you had the accident and when you were unconscious, because that's something that a lot of people won't know anything about.
Well, I can't remember it, obviously.
But when you came to, how did you feel? Or do you remember that?
I didn't know I'd fallen down steps. So it wasn't until I sat up and looked that I then saw there was a set of steps. And I said to the waiter, "Oh, did I fall down those?" And he nodded.
And were
And I didn't know I'd been unconscious.
were people around you concerned? Like, could you see that in their faces?
Yeah.
And is that
Yeah.
what told you that you'd had this injury? And the first few days and weeks you said were just awful. So how did health coaching come into this equation? Like when did you think about that?
Anyone who's suffered fatigue or illness will know that we resort to the internet, don't we, and start
Mm.
looking for help and trying to make sense of things. What can I do to get better? Really was what I was trying to do. I didn't actually get the diagnosis of post-concussion syndrome until 10 weeks after the accident. So I saw 4 different doctors, a cardiologist, 2 GPs, and a functional health specialist, and no one said the word concussion. But eventually, Dr. Google helped me work it out. So all of that was frustrating. I was having cardiology tests, even though I knew there wasn't anything wrong with my heart, but my heart rate went through the floor and my blood pressure went through the floor, which I now know is what's called dysautonomia, which is linked with brain injury. Through all this searching online and trying to get answers, trying to get help, I learned that I had post concussion syndrome. Um, but I also discovered about health coaching.
Mm.
I can't even remember how, to be honest. And so I guess because I'd already started learning a lot about nutrition and lifestyle changes and the things that can help heal from a brain injury, amazingly, which I didn't even know was possible. That's yeah, that's when I started then to discover about health coaching as well.
So I remember meeting you when you were only a few months into this journey, and when you said that you were going to become a health coach. At that time, it would have taken quite a lot of fortitude, a lot more than it would otherwise take, because you were in the depths of despair. I could tell. I've known you for such a long time, and I could tell that that was the case. So, why did you choose to become a health coach when you did?
I wasn't sure that I could do it, but I knew I had a long road of recovery ahead. So I couldn't work anymore. My previous role was very IT focused, and I couldn't even look at a computer screen for any length of time. I couldn't read because it just made the headaches worse. And I suffered massive fatigue, but I didn't want to just spend my life trying to get better. And I had listened to so many podcasts and so many audiobooks because I couldn't read, finding out about health stuff that I I thought, well, I really want to pursue this. This is really interesting. And why don't we all know this already? I had this deep frustration about why has nobody told me any of this? Why is this hard to find out? And saw health coaching courses advertised. So decided to sign up to Health Coaches Academy and delayed my start date until such a point that I felt that I would be ready. And I had discussions with them about the course. So I knew I could do 3 months at a time and then stop. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go for 3 months, see how I am, and take it from there. I started the health coaching course, knowing that I could do 3 months at a time. So I started it very slowly. Because of my symptoms, I wasn't sure how I'd be able to manage. But actually, I really think training to become a health coach has been part of my recovery and has given me something else to focus on as well, other than just my symptoms. And the more I was learning from the health coaching course, the more convinced I became about just the impact that lifestyle and nutrition has on health generally, but also on recovery. And that's certainly been the case for me.
So, have you used a health coach yourself?
Yeah, so before signing up for the health coaching course, I wanted to experience health coaching myself because it's quite new in the UK. So I actually volunteered for a student health coach, lovely Lisa, and she was super helpful for me in helping me get on top of all the things that I had going on. So it was, to be honest, it was really overwhelming. I had a neurologist who'd referred me to a physio. I was seeing an osteopath. I was seeing a psychotherapist for cognitive behavioral therapy. I had a lot of physio exercises to do. I was trying to eat healthily. I was trying to exercise as much as I could with the symptoms I had, as well as look after 3 children. Um, so it was all quite overwhelming. So what Lisa really helped me with was come up with a plan of how to prioritize what I needed to do so that, for example, I could get my physio done and prioritize that over some other stuff so that that would help me get better. So having a health coach was really, it was a game changer for me because it was someone who was walking with me and helping me work out how to help myself get better, someone with knowledge of nutrition and exercise. And she pointed me in the direction of resources that I hadn't come across and really helped me grow in confidence. And I guess she just helped walk with me through part of my recovery journey. So yeah, I found it really helpful having Lisa as my own health coach. And that was also part of what encouraged me to become a health coach myself.
And how would you say that was different from, say, a super supportive family member or a super supportive friend, like paying for a health coach and getting the same level of support? What has been your experience in that?
Really, what it was about for me was someone who would help me, give me the time to think through what it was I needed and what my priorities were, but also what was getting in the way, um, mental barriers, emotional barriers, things that I was struggling with, um, to then help me overcome those, to then achieve what it was that I wanted to achieve, which for me was the recovery from brain injury. So I've got really supportive family and friends, but also it was difficult for them, you know.
Mm.
Um, Whereas someone who's outside of your friendship group and your family and someone who's experienced and skilled in coaching was what I really needed to help me work through and come up with my own plan and someone to hold me accountable for the actions I was going to do, which for me wasn't just doing stuff, it was also not doing stuff. So not pushing myself too hard, not doing the things that weren't actually so important or weren't key to my recovery. So she was like an ally. I suppose the best way to describe it is an ally. So I had supportive friends and family, but she was an ally with me specifically on my health journey.
Brilliant. Have you, as a health coach, as a qualified health coach yourself, have you worked with clients?
Yeah, with traumatic brain injury. So it's been a really incredible experience. I've had some lovely volunteers and worked with some clients as well who are at different stages in their recovery journey. For me, it's been really amazing to see how, through really small changes that they choose to make week by week. So it could be starting to do more exercise, gradually building that up slowly, and seeing the impact that has not just on fitness, but on cognitive function, on brain health, on headaches, that kind of stuff. Another client starting to really improve her nutrition and seeing again the impact that had on her. What's really encouraging, and what was my experience as well, is as we start to make small changes, we get into a virtuous circle of improvement and things start to get better and we start to be able to do more and then we start to feel better. And actually, that's very opposite to what I've also experienced of a downward spiral of feeling worse and worse.
Mm.
So the health coaching process is really amazing as someone starts to improve and get that momentum, if you like, of a positive upward health spiral.
So take me through how you support someone who is experiencing long-term symptoms, say after concussion.
What I'm focused on is very much what can the individual do for themselves. It's outside of care given or therapy given by other medical or other qualified specialists. So this would be complementary to, kind of in addition to, in some ways foundational to other work. So it might be physiotherapy, psychotherapy, etc. From my experience and from my learning, I think there are four key areas. Probably fundamentally is actually nervous system regulation. So our nervous system gets really affected by a traumatic brain injury. So for me, it was very visible initially with the autonomic nervous system, my heart rate and my blood pressure, but also it affects longer term how we process things like having a fright or feeling worse. What's called sympathetic nervous system is much more activated and it's much harder to calm down. For me, understanding about the nervous system and understanding what practical steps we can take to calm our nervous system also then helps to calm symptoms like headaches and brain fog. Practical things to help our nervous system is one area. Nutrition is another massive area. It's about understanding the impact of blood sugar on brain health, something that is not widely talked about. So, blood sugar, but then also foods that are really scientifically proven with a strong evidence base to support brain function, and also a few foods to avoid that have the opposite effect. So there's an incredible amount of information around nutrition and brain health. So nervous function, nutrition, then exercise. So some people choose to do this alongside a concussion physiotherapist, which is what I did, but helping people understand the massive physiological benefits of exercise in terms of brain health as well as physical health. And slowly building exercise in to help support their recovery. And then the fourth thing is around kind of mindset and thinking and the power of our thoughts to that perpetuate feeling worse. So that's certainly been my experience of, oh no, the symptoms are getting worse, the headaches are worse, focusing on that and kind of catastrophizing around that and actually helping people to think about their mindset and recovery mindset. So for concussion, that's really relevant because people tend to be told by neurologists and other professionals that once you reach a certain level of recovery, that's as far as you get. And so people then think, well, this is it. This is as good as I've got. And actually having a different mindset of, yes, there are these evidence-based things that I can do that can help relieve my symptoms and can give me a better quality of life. That can be a game changer. And I've seen that with actually all the clients I've worked with see that change in mindset and that can then precipitate, like I talk about, the upward spiral of improvement. I think it's really sad that people are given a sense of kind of false despair, like you'll never get better from this. This is as good as it gets, because there's a lot of evidence to prove that that's wrong. I guess where I'm coming from, what I want to be able to do as a health coach is be that person who walks alongside someone and who says, okay, let's look at these four areas where feels like a good place to start for you around nervous system regulation, around nutrition, around exercise, and around mindset, and starting to help them put changes in place to start to progress on their recovery journey. Yeah, that's my approach, and it's very much client led. As a health coach, our scope of practice is very clear. So we don't diagnose, we don't prescribe, and we don't actually tell people what to do at all. We give them information and then coach them to make decisions around what would be the most helpful course of action for them, what next single step they want to make. And I think for someone in a situation of brain injury, it is really overwhelming. And so it's about helping someone decide, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on in the next week. And there may be other things in due course, but I'm just going to focus on this one thing. Not trying to do everything. And that in itself also is really helpful.
Okay, this sounds absolutely amazing. And I think you've put it really clearly that there are several different aspects that somebody needs to look at when they're on their own recovery journey, because it cannot be easy to deal with the challenges that regular life throws at us with the added burden of an injury that was just, not obviously not your choice. So I do have a final question for you. If you could say one thing to someone listening who's struggling right now with ongoing symptoms from a traumatic brain injury, what would you say?
I would say there are things that you can do, building up really slowly, really gradually, that can make more of a difference to your day-to-day symptoms and the long-term trajectory of your recovery and ultimately your long-term brain health than you perhaps realize. With support and encouragement and help, you can start to see improvements, even if it has been years. Yeah, there is hope for improvement, and I love to walk that journey with people because I know what it feels like and help them navigate their way through. So yeah, there's hope.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for being on the podcast. So, where can people find out more about you and the services you offer?
Yeah, so I have a profile on vitalhealthcoaches.com. So you can find me on there searching by brain health. And I offer different packages. So I offer a package of one-to-one support, which is online over Zoom, an hour per session, although it can be shorter if that's what's needed. And it's a package of 6 sessions because that is enough to make a really good progress, and we can have follow-up sessions if needed. Then I'm also developing group coaching programs, so exploring some of these areas and helping people through group coaching, again, which is online. So yeah, look me up on vitalhealthcoaches.com.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been really great to be here.